Hello, thank you guys so much for clicking this podcast today. I really appreciate it. This is an awesome podcast. We talk about the future of DJED, the future of Cardano, more rewards for Shen holders, airdrops coming for the Coti network, and so much more. Multi-chain. So much is happening from Coti, and honestly, the more podcasts I do with Coti, the more excited I am. So we're doing a giveaway. If you guys stay till the end, you'll learn how you can enter the DJED giveaway. I'm going to be sending out some free DJED for you guys, so make sure you stay till the end. If you guys do enjoy it, make sure you click that like button, comment down below, subscribe, and if you really want to support the channel, the easiest way you can do so is by delegating to Bloom. We have Bloom through Bloom 6. We minted the 8th block ever on Cardano, so we've been minting blocks from the beginning, and we're going to do it till my end. So thank you guys so much. Thanks for supporting Bloom. Let's jump right into this. Hello. Thank you guys so much for clicking this podcast today. I really appreciate it. I'm with Shahaf. He's actually the CEO of Coti, and they've brought DJED, a stablecoin, to Cardano. It's an algorithmically backed stablecoin. We did a podcast a few months ago, and we really went deep into how Coti works, how DJED works, how Shen works. So briefly, we're going to go into that, to set a foundation so we can build upon that. But make sure you guys check out that podcast from a few months ago. How are you doing today before we get started?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me here today again.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming on. I really didn't understand, what Coti was before we did our last podcast, and it was very educational for me, so I really enjoyed that one.
For sure.
Briefly, what is Coti?
So Coti is an enterprise-grade layer 1 that is uniquely optimized to solve challenges around payments. We do that for enterprises. So we have our own unique technology. We are blockless blockchain. We're based on a graph, on a DAG, direct acyclic graph, that brings a lot of scalability, instant settlements, security, etc. We have our own consensus called proof of trust, which is optimized to solve what we're doing and is more eco-friendly than proof of work. And we are regulation ready. So Coti is the only layer 1 out there that has done KYC to all of its native holders, and that helps with future regulation and with our enterprise clients, obviously. And we're an enterprise-grade product, full stop. So that's Coti.
So from there, eventually you guys end up meeting, Charles from IOG and started developing DJED for the Cardano blockchain. How did that relationship come about? And then, really what is DJED and Shen, and how are they unique when it comes to algorithmically backed stablecoins?
Yeah, sure. So we have a long-lasting relationship with IOG and Cardano. I'd say it's about 4 years now, and we have developed AdaPay in the past, and now DJED. We were the first investment for C Fund, the ecosystem fund for Cardano. And again, we have great relationship, and we do a lot of work. And I would say, generally speaking, Coti and Cardano communities are very much aligned. So DJED is an over-collateralized stablecoin. So it's a stablecoin that keeps its peg at all costs. Normally, the ratio for over-collateralization is at least 4x, right? And when it's below that, then you cannot mint any more DJED. And that helped DJED maintain its peg throughout, all the recent storms. Everything from, USDC going, losing its peg, and some stablecoins on the Cardano ecosystem and whatnot. Throughout everything, DJED kept its peg, and we think this is the #1 priority. Now, the only way to keep this stablecoin over-collateralized on one hand and being capital efficient on the other hand is by introducing a new token called Shen. So Shen is a token that you get when you supply extra collateral to the DJED smart contract. When you do that, you are rewarded with Shen, and when you hold Shen, you are entitled to most of the mint and burn fees that go into the system. So think of it as a community governed stablecoin where those who provide liquidity are the beneficiaries of whatever fees the system makes. Coti gets some operational fee that we later on distribute to Coti holders through our treasury system.
Awesome. So, you guys actually launched this very shortly after our podcast. I think it was a couple weeks later. How did
Yeah.
that launch meet your expectations? I've launched a few things on Cardano, and I'm usually surprised about how many people show up and how many people are engaged. How did the launch go for Coti and Jed and Shen?
So the launch was great, actually, and we had a lot of worries. It's complicated tech. The scalability can sometimes be off, and we really wanted to have a good launch. And I'm happy to say that we did it. It was the last day of January, and nothing broke or nothing serious broke, and a lot of liquidity was deposited. So everybody's is happy with that. And throughout time, liquidity grow. It's nearing 40 million ADA now, so we are capturing, I would say, about 10% of market share in Cardano's DeFi. We've integrated pretty much everywhere. I don't think there is any DEX or lending and borrowing platform or anything substantial in Cardano that doesn't incorporate JED right now. And we're doing more. Whether it's buying NFTs on NMKR, or loans on Fluid tokens, lend, borrow, earn in Liquid, AIDA for borrowing, etc. So it's capturing both utility and on grow, and the liquidity itself continuously grow. And overall, we're super happy about JED and the future of JED.
Yeah, I mean, we're in really rocky times right now. So, Jed really did hold up through those times. And, we do get to those moments where it's not as rocky and it's much easier to garner a much higher TVL. Did the TVL after launch and to now meet your expectations at Coti? Were you guys expecting a little higher or a little lower?
It's pretty much where we thought it would be at this point, because to be realistic, there's the Cardano DeFi ecosystem still grows. So there is so much you can do with stablecoins, and I remind you that we are over collateralized. This is a thing that we need to remember. There can be a stablecoin that is not as safe as JED, and you can mint far more JEDs using the same collateral, but but the risk is there. So what's the point, right? So we're very happy about that. Right now, one of the things we're working on right now is, and we're about to introduce, is I would say two big things. One is introducing more rewards and benefits to Shen holders. So at this point, we've taken care of JED holders, and there's a lot of yield that you can do, farming rewards, etc., on various DEXs and lending and borrowing platforms. There needs to be more for Shen, and when we know that, and one step at a time. So Shen is now became a priority, and we're discussing with DEXs and the platforms to introduce more rewards for Shen holders. And I'll get into let's talk about Shen right now. We've calculated how profitable it was to hold Shen, as a liquidity provider. So it goes as follows. First of all, you're getting the staking rewards. I would say roughly at about 4% delegating staking rewards. That's pretty good because you always had the alternative to just stake your ADA. So we wanted to kind of match with that. Other than that, when you're looking at the fees that you've collected as a Shen holders, those were about 10%. So 10% return in about 3 months. So when you think about this annually, it's about 40%. Now, this is a serious number. I don't know, a lot of things that you can do, a lot of strategies that you can have with ADA that will keep you pegged to ADA in many ways, aligned with ADA without selling your ADA. On one hand, and that will yield about 40% on the other hand. So that was Shen until now. Other than that, there were some opportunities to farm rewards using Shen. So you could have made more, but not enough. So this is something we'll be focused on right now. Once we do that, I guess there will be more incentives. And then the system that sits at about 3.6x collateral right now will probably climb again, as it was naturally at that state for a very long time. There was one point where one of our partners have just offered like an offer you can't refuse to those who use JED as collateral, and everybody minted JED, and there's just simply not enough Shen out there to back that up. So we'll do the same with Shen pretty soon. People can mint Shen at that point. Probably makes sense to do it right now for people because you want to be in the platform when it happens. So that's one big thing. The second big thing is branching out and using your ADA to mint JED and Shen, then taking it to other chains. So we'll be introducing both Binance Smart Chain and Ethereum through a bridge. Once you do that, you can use your wrapped JED and other ecosystems. They had some head start with DeFi, and these ecosystems are bigger. But I do believe, and obviously there's USDC, USDT. Why do we need another stablecoin? Because it keeps its peg. This is like a very, very important reason why you want to hold JED and not another stablecoin. And using this very safe stablecoin in ecosystems where DeFi is very much developed, then that's an advantage. So that will grow the utility as well. So bigger rewards for Shen holders and extra utility coming from various chains. That's the plan moving forward.
That's really exciting to me. I always envision blockchain being this, network of networks, and actually using Cardano for what it's good at. The Haskell code, being algorithmically backed, and us being able to actually mint those tokens, bring them to other chains, use them there. That's so exciting. I feel like we're almost living in the future a little bit here. Because I got into Cardano in 2017, and we were just so far away. So I saw a little bit about Coti V2. What you just mentioned previously, is that a part of Coti V2, or is Coti V2 its own list of utilities that are coming to the Coti network?
So Coti V2 has its own list of utilities, and I'll describe that. And remind me to talk about Coti, because I think this will be very interesting for the audience as well. So Coti V2, let's talk about that. So I would say let's think about version 1 being cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, value being transmitted on a network, and V2 of everything will be smart contracts, right? So we have a contract between like an automated software running on a node, and when a few conditions are met, then something happens. What's next? So, we've been thinking about this a lot, and we believe that something very interesting that Coti can do is something that we call policies. Okay? What is a policy? A policy is like a set of rules, natural rules, that you can implement on any layer 1, be it Cardano, Ethereum, or whatnot, be it Coti. And without needing to define each and every relationship, you can define what will happen. Again, a policy. Think of it like a door policy. And when something doesn't meet the policy, then it doesn't happen on that blockchain. It's not registered. So a few examples. One is something that everybody thinks about: regulation. Well, regulation is coming, whether we like it or not. And if we are not planning ahead, then we will have very limited version of cryptocurrencies as we know them today. Be it, liquidity wouldn't grow because no enterprise or no institution can onboard, or be it a very limited version in terms of innovation because so many things cannot be done because the technology is not there. So what happens if I am DEX, and I would like to have users from the US, but I'm worried, because of the SEC and lawsuits and everything. So I want to do something like I want to comply with AML policies, anti-money laundering policies. Instead of just saying, if the IP is from the US, I can't open my gates for you, which is something, that not everybody, but a lot of people are doing, including Coti, because like there is no clarity. So why would we take that risk? So what if I could, in my smart contracts, right, could write, if user is from the US, then enforce SEC policy. As simple as that. And that would take into account like all the rules from KYC to the threshold of transactions and everything. And when a user comes in, if he's clear to go, then his transaction is registered on the blockchain. If it's not, then the transaction is declined. And instead of every DApp developer in the world needing to figure out again and again what are the rules, how to build a smart contract, where to get the data from, all of that, and then try to audit that, right? We build it once. A developer builds it once on Coti, and then all the dApps, all the DEXs from all chains can use it, can consume it. And the developer that developed that policy is incentivized, and the auditor that audited that policy is incentivized, and everybody can use it. That's like the literal definition of composability. We solve a problem once, and everybody can use it. And we solve it in a very nifty way instead of building all these smart contracts, which doesn't make sense in terms of technology.
So that's
please go ahead.
How does that look like from the user perspective? Is it essentially a KYC front-end interface where they come to some website, they KYC, and then now it allows them to interact with all of those contracts that are actually legal in the United States?
It could be that, but it can be like very transparent to the user, abstracted from the user. I think that's the right term, where the user is just doing what he normally did, right? And we're probably getting, to a point where a lot of users will have like a decentralized identity or, like an NFT with their KYC and whatnot. They'll be the custodian of their KYC, and then it will just be checked, and the user can move forward using the app. So where exactly KYC is done is kind of like off topic, because there are like multiple ways to do that. But once you've done it, you're using the same sort of flows and infrastructure that everybody else is using. And this is like something very powerful with policies, because like you don't need to solve everything yourself as a DApp. So think about it that way. If like where we're heading right now without policies is that every DEX will have its own interface doing KYC to users, and you'll do a KYC wherever you want to go again and again and again and again, right? Because that is like every DEX solves it for itself. Instead of just having a policy and then you just move freely. Or maybe as a user, like you want to adopt a policy where you'll be like, I don't really want to interact with any DEX that has access to user funds or that doesn't respect GDPR or other privacy laws. So that will be checked as a policy. Like outside of the DEX, that will be part of your wallet or whatnot. So that's another form of policy. Maybe you are a DAO, right? And a DAO works kind of like a company. It has policies, right? But right now, every DAO is developing all the policies for themselves again and again. And they're, they need to be pros at developing this sort of things, where this is like not their core competency. Like they created a DAO to, buy art, encourage Web3 game developments, buy a golf field, like everything goes, right? But now they need to be experts at all sorts of things. This is not how, capitalism work, or we specialize at things. And policies is a lot of way of thinking about specialization. So this will be part of the future infrastructure of Coti. And it's quite an interesting technology, and we're working on it right now.
That's really exciting. And one thing that I know a lot of users watching this video are going to be excited about is the G token airdrop that's coming up. What can you tell us about the airdrop and also the G token?
Yes. So Coti has a treasury app, which is kind of like unusual for the ones I know. But in this app, users can deposit their Coti, and maybe if I was segueing back a bit, Coti is a proof of trust consensus. It's not a proof of stake consensus. So we don't need staking from user, technically speaking. But we want users to be able to enjoy the success of the network. So how do we do that? You deposit Coti, native Coti, in Coti's treasury app, sorry. And when we collect fees from everything, like operational fees from DJED or whatnot, it is then funneled to the treasury, and users collect it in the form of like APY that they have. So this has been something that we introduced a few years ago, and right now we have a treasury app, and we'll have like a future version of the treasury app, and it's very successful. I mean, there's almost 550 million Coti deposited, which is about 45% of Coti's circulating supply. So it's a substantial TVL that is locked there. Now, with that in mind, we are introducing a token called G-Coti. And G-Coti is the governance token for Coti's treasury. So Coti is a gas token, and G-Coti is a governance token. And it's super interesting because if you have G-Coti, then you participate in the governance. You can participate in liquidations, which is like a financial benefit. And you're also getting an APY booster. So those who have G-Coti enjoy just better terms when it comes to the treasury. How do you get G-Coti? Because why wouldn't you want to have G-Coti if you're participating in the treasury? At some point, you could buy it in the market. But before that happens, we are just airdropping about 10% of the entire G-Coti supply completely for free. The way to get it is to lock G-Coti in Coti's treasury for substantial periods of time. It can be up to a year, and then you're getting a lot of G-Coti. Now we have, I would say, 3.5 phases in this campaign. The first phase is done already. It was the native airdrop campaign, so people can deposit their native Coti in the exchange. And that was like incredible. 360 million Coti was deposited, 84% for a year. With a hard lock, people can't withdraw it. And about 2/3 of it happened in the first 24 hours, and I think about 100 million happened like in matters of seconds to minutes. So that's phase one. Phase two is where we're at right now. I'm not sure when this video will be broadcast, but it's the phase will be done tomorrow, and there's still a lot of opportunity to deposit the ERC20 version of Coti to get G-Coti. So there's still a lot of G-Coti at that phase of the campaign, and those who participate can probably collect nicely future G-Coti. There will be a phase where you can just do that on an exchange with ERC20. And the last phase is the community phase, as we call it. So that's kind of like a major campaign where people don't necessarily need to be whale or have a lot of Coti. So it's kind of like a non-financial campaign where people can just show their support and get G-Coti. I would say the most actionable thing right now when you're listening to this video is to quickly go to the Coti Treasury app and look at the G-Coti ERC20 phase. And if it's not done, just check the numbers. There may be some opportunity there. On the other hand, people might have just been waiting for the last few hours to see where it is, and then people will just deposit a lot of their Coti ERC20. So it makes sense to have a look at it right now.
Yeah, definitely. So users have to deposit Coti into a smart contract, and that will make them eligible for the G-Coti airdrop, correct?
Yep.
Awesome. And is it going to be the same for phase 3 as well?
Yeah, exactly. But that will happen directly in an exchange. So you'll deposit in an exchange vault.
Okay, amazing. So With the G token or the G Coti token, you mentioned 10% is going to be given out through airdrops. What are other ways that people can earn this governance token in the future?
So in the future, the only way to get it, other than just buying it in the market, is participating in the treasury. So deposits and leverage deposits and whatnot, all of that will give you G Coti.
So you mentioned earlier that DJED is going to go multi-chain in the future. Will there ever be a time where there are actually, other, values locked up that users can say deposit, a form of Bitcoin and get Shen for that? Will DJED ever be algorithmically backed by multiple coins in the future?
Absolutely, and this is an ongoing discussion that we have with IOG. So we all align on that, and we all see that future. So like wrapped BTC, wrapped Ethereum, all that value will be captured on Cardano, and it will back DJED. Obviously, it's complicated just because you need oracles to look at various values shifting, etc. But this is definitely something that we'll be doing.
So with that, the governance token, will users be able to vote on processes like that as far as, accepting other currencies in? Or is that governance token really focused on the Coti network and not really DJED?
Well, DJED is developed and powered by Coti. So everything that we touch and have some sense of control over, we would like to have a community, looking at. So yeah, this is definitely something we'll be asking the community, getting some feedback from the community about what makes sense to them.
Okay, amazing. So Texas wants to do a gold-backed stablecoin. Do you think Coti will ever work, with governments or other large institutions to teach them how to build, algorithmically backed stablecoin protocols, to create other types of assets like one backed by gold?
Yeah. So. Charles Hoskinson's long-term vision for DJED was actually CBDCs. When he was looking at the algorithm and everything, this is something that he had in mind. So Coti is in fact, in touch, and we recently revealed that we have discussions with a major commercial bank here in Israel, and we're looking at issuing. It's not by definition CBDC, but it's backed by our local currency, the shekel, sort of token. So this is definitely something that we're looking at, and also with a major gaming company. We're not talking about one, but 5 different stable coins that will be issuing, backed by or pegged to different currencies. And this is the sort of technology that will be put in front of 2 million users a month. This is the audience that this gaming company has. And when we're talking about adoption, I don't know the exact number, but a big chunk of these 2 million users, that will be their first steps into crypto. So we can onboard a lot of users using this because we're leveraging the access that this enterprise has, and the fact that users will benefit a lot from holding these assets. So yeah, we are looking at major types of adoptions when we're thinking about stable coins.
That's really exciting. I want to go a little deeper into that. How would a video game use your guys' expertise? What staple value would they need in their gaming ecosystem?
So when we're talking about gaming, we're not talking about video gamings. We're talking about everything from sport bets to casino type games to poker rooms and whatnot. So this industry, which is regulated and legal where it is, the harsh truth of this world is that you can work in a very regulated manner, but you'll still have hard time with payment processing, which is one of the reasons that Coti was created. Because you can have 2 consenting adults, the game operator and the user that want to play, and this game can be legal in that country as well. Yet you'll have hard time payment processing because the bank or the credit network doesn't want to take this risk because they're doing well as it is. Why would they want another risk? Because the user can do a chargeback, and then they'll have all this headache and whatnot. This is the reality of this world. So when we're talking about building private payment networks, which means that the relationship between the user and the game operator is kept private between them. They don't need a third-party bank credit card network to help them move value around like they do with fiat, because this is like a peer-to-peer transaction by definition. Then you can build a very interesting infrastructure, very efficient infrastructure that works faster, that is fully inclusive to all participants, and doesn't cost that much, and kind of like has zero latency. So this is like, this is amazing for these sort of operators. And this is why we've been focused on that industry. And now we're building a solution for a major company in that space. And we'll see it live this year. And I'll believe that, with this, we can grow to other operators in the space. All have a lot of interest, but, we want to nail it first with first one and then scale it up.
Awesome. That's really all I have. I really enjoyed this podcast going over the airdrop, actually bringing DJED onto multiple chains and, V2 of Coti, and then also more Shen rewards. I think the audience is really going to love this. Is there anything that you think that we missed in this podcast today?
No, I think we covered all the big things.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you guys so much for watching at home. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me here today.
Yeah. If you guys enjoyed this podcast, make sure you comment down below. If you made it till the end, type in DJED down below, and that'll enter you into a little giveaway I'll do for you guys. But I hope you have a good rest of your week. Make sure you guys get into the G token airdrop. I'll have some links down below and some guides on how to do that. So thank you guys so much. Have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Thank you.